my name's Claire and you're watching Stitch Home Sew. Thank you so much for joining me today for another video. Now today's video is a Friday Sews video, although quite honestly I'm recording this on Saturday evening, so it's very much likely to be a Sunday Sews or possibly even a Monday Sews, but you get the general gist. I'm here to talk to you all about what I've been up to in terms of sewing and what I've been making, buying, things I've been up to that are sewing related, etc. So I hope you'll stick around with me today and I will crack on with what I've been making. Now if you watched my last Friday Sews, I spoke about the fact that it was half term this week just gone, and I didn't know whether that meant I would be super productive in terms of sewing or get hardly any sewing done at all. Now you've probably noticed by the title of the video, I got lots of sewing done. It's been a brilliant week. We've had loads of fun. My husband and myself have both been off work all week with our boys, and we've had a lovely week. We have caught up with family on several different days, different family members. We've done a few different things here and there. We've managed to dodge the showers. We managed to get to the beach. We've done loads of stuff sort of fairly locally, but also it has meant I've managed to fit some sewing in as well, and I'm quite surprised by how much I've managed to get done, so I'm really excited to show you all about that, and also I will tell you about what I've been up to in terms of other sewing related things as well. So I will crack on with my first make. Now my first make was the assembly line high cuff sweater. Now I think I spoke to you about it in last week that I had cut it out and I just need to get it sewn up, and so this is my make. So I've made it, it's made in a viscose fabric, so all nice and floaty, and then you use ribbing for the cuffs, the neckband and the hemband, and then at the back it's got a higher back ribbing bit on the back than it has on the front. So I will try and get some pictures of me wearing this. I haven't taken any photos of any of my makes yet, so I will try and do that before I edit the video. But yeah, I'm really chuffed with how this came out. This unfortunately is one of the assembly line patterns that doesn't have a huge size range, unfortunately. So I think I made the biggest size, which I think just goes up to a size large. So if I'm honest with you, had it gone up to a larger size, I probably would have made the next size up, but because I think I would have felt more comfortable with that when I was looking at the measurements. But I took a bit of a punt, and actually it's worked out to my advantage because of the style of this top, with it being kind of more, obviously it's supposed to be more of a top than a full-on sweatshirt, you know, thick bulky sweatshirt. I actually think it works quite nicely in the size that I've done. I'm quite pleased. I would possibly give the hemband just a fraction more if I was to sew it again, just kind of a centimetre either side, and I think the fabric within this would there is enough to do that, so I would just give myself just a smidge more. I think I didn't take quite the same amount of the seam allowance. I think it was a 5/8 seam allowance, and I think I took more of a 1/2 inch, so I slightly more, you know, I was basically eked out a little bit of extra room for myself that way. So as I say, this is a really inexpensive viscose that I bought from Pound Fabrics just to try this pattern out. So this was, I guess, a wearable trial, you could say. I'm really pleased with the outcome. I think this is going to be a really nice top to be able to wear to work, but also I could pair it with a pair of jeans or a denim skirt or something along those lines. So yeah, that was make number one. Make number two, whilst I had black on the overlocker, I thought, right, what else can I make whilst I've got black set up on the overlocker? Now, I'm not somebody that is particularly like, oh, I hate changing the overlocker, but let's face it, it is a little bit of a faff. So I thought, right, let's take advantage of having black on the overlocker. So whilst I was at the knitting and stitching show, I picked up a fabric. I guess it's like a ponte type fabric, and it's got this kind of do you call that a jacquard? It's got kind of a raised design on it, and several of us picked up the same fabric. The lovely Adele from Sew for Serenity and Katie from Whatever Katie Sews also, I know, definitely picked up the same fabric, and it might have been that a few others, Cara from So Mad, may have picked it up as well. I'm not quite sure, because it was from with the stall that we called the stall with no name, because there was no name above and we didn't get the opportunity to ask the person who was running it what the stall was called. Anyway, what I've decided to make is the toaster sweater. Now I appreciate this is probably not going to come out that well on camera because it's black, but this is version 2 of the toaster sweater. I've worn it a few times now. It looks great over, I've paired it over a dress as well. In fact, the dress that I'm wearing, is the chalk and notch fringe dress in a Lady McElroy, tell me which version that's supposed to be, viscose that I bought at the Stitch Festival back in March, and it's, yeah, a viscose fabric, beautiful to sew with, really happy with this make, and this is the dress that I wore to the knitting and stitching show in earlier on in the month. So sorry, I digress. So I have made up this sweater, as I say, version 2. So it's got this kind of, I don't know what neckline you call this. It's kind of got, it's a little bit boatish, a little bit funnel neckish. It's got the split hem on the side. I added some length to the bodice and the back. I've made this pattern before, so I'm trying to think what I did then, because I just obviously used the bits, like the pattern piece I'd already cut out before. I think I added 2 inches to the bodice, but nothing to the sleeves. The sleeves are uber long, really long on this, and so I have turned them up like a reasonable amount, and it still kind of hits down here. So if you've got shorter arms than me, and I think I've got quite long arms, my hunch is that you will need to shorten this pattern, unless somehow I've managed to cut the pattern piece out wrong. But just be aware, if you are making this pattern, as I say, I've sewn this pattern up once before. I sewed it up previously, a really long time ago, when I first sort of started sewing garments. I think I just got my overlocker when I sewed that, but it was in I just made it in a cotton jersey fabric, so it's more kind of a top than jumper, but I still wear that one, but not as much as I think I will wear this one. So that was make number 2 with the black overlocker thread. Now, whilst I was on a roll, I made this jumper for my older son. Now this fabric has not been in my stash long. I'm very proud of myself. I bought this from the lovely Rachel from Stitch Up's D-Stash. It's a French terry fabric. I bought a metre of this fabric. It was just a metre remnant piece that she had, and I've made the Waves and Wild, my favourite TNT, tried and true for my son's Waves and Wild hot chocolate. And I've just, rather than used separate, you know, different ribbing and stuff, I've done it all out of the same fabric. Now, I have lengthened the sleeves on this by 3/4 of an inch, I think, just to give them a little bit of extra room, because I found in more recent times that I've realised that he's got quite long arms, a bit like his mum. And so, yeah, I've added a little bit of extra length, so hopefully as he grows, and the body length seems to work quite well as he gets a bit taller, because it's quite long, it's quite a long pattern piece. The arms always kind of don't seem to be in proportion, so hopefully it'll help that. However, I got a metre of this fabric, and I just about squeezed this on. I've got a little bit left, I guess the size of about an A3 piece of paper left, but in terms of the length of the fabric, I only just got the kind of the front and the back, and then the sleeves on in terms of that metre amount. Obviously if it had been a super wide fabric I wouldn't have had any issues. It wasn't a narrow fabric, but if it had been uber wide then it wouldn't have been an issue at all. But I will have to bear that in mind that I'm not going to get away with less than a metre for him anymore. So lesson learned there for me. So yeah, really chuffed with this one. It's come up really nicely. As I said, I've made this pattern so many times before, so I don't need to kind of follow any instructions or anything, which is lovely. But yeah, I think he'll like this one, and I'm going to wrap this up for his birthday because he's got a birthday coming up at the beginning of November, so this will just be another additional little one, so he hasn't seen this one at all. Right, what's next in terms of my makes? I think the next thing I made was a couple of pouches. Now I've come across a new pattern company to me, but I think they're also pretty new on the scene. They're called Rivet Patterns, and they've got maybe 5 or 6 patterns out so far. They've got a free t-shirt pattern, which I'll talk a little bit more about in detail in a few minutes. They have got some really nice sort of lounge wear trousers, which I'm really interested in, out of a jersey fabric. But you could also, I guess, depending on the fabric you made them in, they could equally, you could probably, if you made them in a nice fabric, you could wear them to work and be really kind of smart. You could make them in, I guess, a velvet and make them quite sort of luxury loungewear or something. But yeah, they look really nice. I'll try and pop a picture in, a stock photo. Yeah, a few kind of comfy casuals type patterns, and there's a couple of bag patterns on there. I think there's a nice tote and something else, and there's also the Prelude cosmetic pouch. So you know how I love a pouch, so I decided to make one. So this, it comes in 2 sizes. This is the large, and then there's a smaller size. So the zip itself goes in a little bit like, I guess how you would do a welt pocket, in the fact that you draw kind of a rectangle on there, the piece of fabric. You know, you cut along the center of it, you cut into the corners, and then you push the lining through, and then you put your zip in. I don't know, is that how you do a welt pocket? Anyway, that's how you do this particular pattern. So you end up with this quite nice sort of feature at the top. You can see a little bit of my lining poking through. That's probably not quite supposed to happen, but I don't think it looks too bad. I'm not particularly sad about it. Yeah, so that's and then it's nicely lined on the inside. The only thing I don't like about it is because of the way you do the zip, you then see the zip tape, and on other patterns of a similar kind I have bound the zip before putting it in so that you don't see the tape, but I didn't do it on this one. So there is a smaller size which is much of a similar size to this pouch here, except for it's very slightly bigger. Now this started off supposed to be the smaller version of this pouch, but I started off with this one and I mucked up doing the cutting out that top bit because I didn't put my pattern pieces facing together. I think I'd sandwiched them a bit like you would with quilting, and then obviously when I tried to put it through the hole it didn't work. So anyway, I snipped that bit off and just kind of made the pouch in a similar way. So this one's more of a kind of a traditional, oh my goodness, massive clap of thunder. I don't know whether you could hear that. I'm filming this reasonably late in the evening on Saturday evening. That was really loud. So that is the 2 pouches that I have made as well. Right, as you all know, we are moving very close to Halloween. My boys are quite excited about it. We were going to do something just kind of locally, going trick-or-treating around a few sort of local houses that I know, friends that we know. But my older son has been invited to a Halloween party, and my lovely friend who's hosting it also invited that my younger son could go along. Obviously I'll go along too. So now I felt like I needed to make a little bit more of an effort in terms of costume. So my younger son's happy. He just wants to go as Batman. We've got a Batman costume. Happy days. He changes his mind more often, so chances are he will have changed his mind before then, but I think we'll just go with whatever we've got. We've got a cat costume and various things that he can go as, but for now he seems to be stuck on Batman. We'll see. My older son decided he wanted to be a spider. Okay, how do I pull this off in a very limited amount of time without having to really buy anything? So bear with me and I will grab my finished item. I made a spider costume for him. I found a hat that we already had in, which is just a kind of dark grey, which my son has added some eyes to, so he did that bit himself, so that was a bit I didn't have to worry about. I made a black sweatshirt, yes, and you guessed it, using my faithful Waves and Wild hot chocolate pattern. You can do this as a hoodie, you can put a cowl neck on, you can make it into a dress. Obviously for the boys I just tend to use either the round neck or the hoodie. This time obviously just gone with the round neck. I had this very inexpensive sweatshirting in my stash. I'd made previously some joggers for my older son. It's not a particularly nice sweatshirting, it bobbles, but for a Halloween costume that's absolutely fine, and at the moment it looks beautiful because it's only been washed the once, obviously when I first initially washed the fabric, and so it looks perfect at the moment. So that was the jumper. Now he already had some black trousers, so that's perfect, and so I just needed to somehow fabricate some spider legs. So the idea was that he's obviously got his arms and his legs, so that's 4. I needed to come up with a way of making 4 more legs. So I was going over to see my sister and my parents, and so I messaged them to say, do you have any wire, old-fashioned kind of wire coat hangers, or any wire of that sort of strength where it's got some sort of substance to it, but it also you can bend it, etc. My dad came up trumps. I told him what I was needing it for, and I also said, oh, I need to find some sort of foam or something, and for some bizarre reason he just had these 2 wedges of foam. I don't know what it was for. It looked like it come off some seat. He's one of these people that kind of keeps everything because you never quite know when you're going to need it. Anyway, so I cut those 2 bits of foam so that I had 4 bits. I had 4 bits of this wire that he'd found, which I believe is from years and years ago. My dad used to be a welder by trade. Then he went into the MOD teaching welding to the Navy. Then he taught the people that taught the people. Anyway, the long and the short of it is he had some of this from his welding days, so he very kindly gave me some of that. I wrapped the wire with the foam, I put some wadding around that, and then I've made kind of black, great big long socks, tights type effect, and then kind of put those together, created like a backpack if you like, and then the legs stick out. So I'm trying to explain it because I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but here, so I've created this sort of backpack effect with these legs that come off it, and so he can wear that with his black, all in black. He'll have black gloves too, and he'll look pretty good like a spider. I think I've got a photo that we took the other day when he was trying it on. He's very, very happy with the result, so that's all that I care round, and generally I think it's come out all right. So yeah, for trying to like cobble it together, not spending any money on it, I'm really, really happy that I had this offcut of terrible quality sweatshirting, but still I had it in my stash, and I just had a little bit of black fleece that I'd used on a different project some time ago left, that was just enough, literally just enough to make these legs. So yeah, great to have a bit of a stash sometimes, because you never know when you're going to need it. So that is Halloween. So next I move on to, I told you there was a lot. Today I went to the lovely Adam Sew's sewing social. He ran an all-day social today. It was absolutely brilliant. I saw some familiar faces from the lovely Catherine from Soberton Makery social that she's done for. Unfortunately, Catherine wasn't there, but there were some lovely familiar faces, but also some new faces, which was just lovely. I finally got to meet the lovely Carol from Sew Carol. We've sort of commented and talked through sort of YouTube and Instagram for some time, and obviously I know that Adam and Carol are great friends, and it was just so nice to finally meet her in the flesh. It's so funny when you watch people on YouTube, you feel like you kind of know them, so then when you meet them in person you feel like you know them, but you don't know them, but you kind of do know them. It's a very surreal feeling. So yeah, it was lovely to meet Carol, but also loads of other people that were there today as well. Really, really, really enjoyed talking to everybody. Thank you so much for just making the day so special. Huge thanks to Adam, because it was just a brilliant, brilliant day. He'd put on some food and things as well. If you look at the lovely Anna from Fuzzy Baby Seals or Pattern Pouch Nest on, no I don't, just Fuzzy Baby Seals on Instagram. You got me in stitches on YouTube, and also her company Pattern Pouch Nest, but basically on Instagram she'd put some photos of the day, so do go out and check those out as well. Adam had laid on some lovely food as well, which was just fantastic. It was really gorgeous. There was lots of tea and coffee and things throughout the day. Yeah, just a lovely day. Got there at like 9, finished at 4:30, so a full day of sewing. I couldn't believe how quickly the day went. I genuinely thought, because I'd only ever been to like an evening social before, that it would feel like a really long time, not in a bad way, but I was just like, yay, I'm gonna have so much time to sew. But it just went by in a flash, but it was just brilliant. Such a lovely, lovely day. So I'd taken along several different sewing projects because I didn't know what I would feel like making. So I took along this t-shirt to begin with. Now this is from Rivet Patterns, the heather t-shirt. This is a free pattern. It comes in a reasonably, I think, a pretty good size range. I will put those details below. And you can make it with a crew neck, a low scoop or a high scoop. You can do short sleeves, 3/4 length sleeve, or long sleeves. It's got an option in relation to full bust adjustment, in relation, i.e. you don't have to do it, it's already been done for you, or you can have just a standard front to it as well. So great for like a free pattern. So I started with making this particular t-shirt. Now I haven't actually finished this one because I had a little bit of a drama with it. Now this is some really gorgeous cotton jersey that I bought again from a D-stash. This time it was What Beck Sews D-stash a little while ago. It's a lovely teal colour, and it all was going perfectly well until I tried to put this neckband in. Now I don't normally have huge problems with neckbands. I will often measure before doing it, The first time I just put it in with the pattern piece, it was massive. You know, when it all kind of like sticks out like that because it basically hasn't been stretched enough. So I unpicked it, took a bit off, did it again, still wasn't right. I thought, oh, this is annoying me. So I put it to one side and moved on to the next one, which I'll show you what I made next. And then I came back to it later and put it in again, basted it in. It's okay, but I've now possibly made the neckband slightly too small, and I've got some pulling, but whenever I had only removed a little bit from it from the last time I basted it in, and it was still kind of sticking out like that because it was too long. So yeah, slightly irritated by that, but I don't think that's necessarily any fault of the pattern, just me being a bit naff. But just to watch out if you are using the pattern, which I would recommend because it's great other than that, is to maybe measure your neckband and, you know, do the kind of 80% of the lengths, etc., or 85, whatever you feels best for the particular fabric that you're using, or whatever method you use. So it comes out really long. I haven't lengthened this, and I'm going to take some length off. Highly unusual for me, and the arms are quite long as well. Again, I will remove some length. Very, very unusual for me to have to remove length from a top, but so I will finish this off. I'm going to cut some off the bottom, try and see if I can sort out this neckline, maybe possibly with a properly good press. I'll take some of those wrinkles out. We'll see how I get on, and I need to decide whether I'm going to keep this full length or take it 3/4. Not quite sure yet, but that was kind of one of the makes that I got made at the sewing social. Now the other make that I did, which I have finished, is this one here. Now this is the Hug Hoodie by Made It Patterns. Now this is a pattern that again is a bit of a tried and true. I think this is my third version. I've made it in this gorgeous fabric from By Graziella, and I bought some cuffing which matches pretty well to the teal. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Unfortunately, Made It Patterns no longer trade, but what I love about this hoodie pattern is this crossover detail at the bottom. I just think it is just lovely. I think it's really lovely, and it's a raglan sleeve, which I think suits me quite well. You don't have to worry about where your shoulder points are, but also it doesn't give you that real kind of bagging that you get with kind of a drop sleeve or a dolman sleeve. So yeah, really happy with this make. It looks really lovely. I've only tried it on over this dress, but I will try and get some pictures of me in it as well. So yeah, that was my full make that I made at the social. Obviously lots and lots of chatting, just so nice. Sewing people are genuinely the best. Now another one of the things that I took along, but I didn't get to do because obviously I took way too much to do, was the idea of making a hat for Halloween, a witch's hat. Now I had some fabric that I was thinking of using, just some kind of like fat quarters that are quite autumnal looking. Anyway, whilst I was there, the lovely Anna from Pattern Pouch Nest had her fabrics there that she was selling, and she had this amazing Halloween fabric that has got skulls and cats and bees and potion bottles all over, and I just thought, oh my goodness, this is so perfect, meant to be. So I have got a half meter of that. Now I didn't have any cash on me, so the lovely Clare from the Sewing Bear, hello Clare if you're watching, she very kindly lent me the money. I will be giving it back to you, Claire, when you finally either give me your bank details or the next time I see you. I promise I will give you the money back, but yeah, she subbed me the money to buy that, so thank you, Claire, I do appreciate it. And yeah, watch this space, I need to get that sewed up. in the next day or so, ready for Halloween. I'm not going full out, but I just thought if I'm going kind of to a Halloween party, it would be nice just to have at least one item that was kind of Halloweeny. What I'm planning on doing is using the Patterns for Pirates witch's hat pattern, which is actually designed for felt. So the idea with that is you've just got literally kind of the rim and then the pointy hat bit, but what I'm going to do is do it slightly differently. I will cut 2 bits of the rim, 2 bits of the hat piece itself, and I'm going to put some fusible foam on the inside to make it more firm, etc. But I think it should work. Fingers crossed that comes, that works. Now, so that's one plan for this week. My second plan is one that I was supposed to do this week and I didn't, but I have now cut the pattern out, so that's a massive step forward, because as you guys know, the cutting out is my least favourite phase. I'm looking down there because it's underneath the desk, but it is the What Lola Made Robin shirt, which was very kindly gifted to me by the lovely Oyen from Lush Cloth. Oyen has had a fabric business for about 2 years, I think, or so, and she is now venturing into her own pattern company. So I think you will notice on Instagram that she kind of has made that kind of announcement, and so she is, I don't think she's stopping selling fabrics, but she's certainly sort of downgrading the amount that she carries, possibly with the idea in the future that that will disappear completely. But what I'm trying to get to is the fact that if you go onto her website, there are a number of fabrics that are quite heavily reduced, so well worth a little look. But I will be working on the Robin shirt this week to hopefully get that finished, because I'm really excited about that pattern. The reason I haven't done it largely was that black was on my overlocker. I need to put white on the overlocker for that one, and so I was just kind of doing everything I needed to do with the black. And once the I suddenly had to make this Halloween costume, the black was on the overlocker, I was like, right, let's get it done. And I didn't want to take it, although I did take it to the sewing social today, I knew that it was probably a make that wasn't best for the sewing social, because it's something I probably need to concentrate a little bit more on, being a slightly more involved make, not necessarily super involved, but more than just pushing something through on the overlocker. So that, as I say, that is my plan for this week. Now, what else have I got going on? Quick look at my notes that I made. Shock horror, made some notes. Coming up this week, I will be recording my gift to November video, which will be coming, I think mine comes out on the 4th of November. So that is a sewing challenge that is going to be on Instagram. This is its second year. It's run by the lovely Alison from Sew Like Dottie and Adam from Adam Sews, and the idea behind that is to get ready for Christmas with any kind of gifts and things that you want to make. And so they're doing a whole vlogger tour. They've got some amazing prizes, well worth entering if you're thinking of sewing up gifts for other people for Christmas or for other celebrations around that sort of time. Definitely worth taking part in that one. So my ideas for that challenge is coming out, I believe it's the 4th of November, so watch out for that video. And then very excitingly, on Friday I am meeting the lovely Marissa from the Umbrian Sewist. She's flying over for work, and she got in contact with me to say, would I like to meet up with her? So we're meeting up in London. We're going to hit some fabric shops. So excited to meet her in the flesh. Yeah, really excited. So that I will tell you all about that once I've been. So I may be doing kind of a later Friday sews, I think, next week. Again, it will probably be a Sunday or a Monday sews rather than a Friday sews. But I think that's it from me today. I think I have again waffled on a lot. It's been a really exciting day. Thank you so much to Adam and everybody at the Sewing Social. Just a brilliant day. I hope you've enjoyed my bumper makes week. This definitely isn't, if this is the first time you've been with me, this definitely isn't a true representation of every week. This is just that I've managed to fit in loads and loads this week. But I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I've really enjoyed talking to you today, and I hope you'll come back next time. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd really love it if you would do so. Do click that like button as well. But until next time, take care. Happy sewing. Bye bye.